go ahead and start recording this session so that I can post it up to YouTube later on tonight. So anybody who wasn't able to join, they'll be able to at least watch this. But did anybody have any questions on the actual review itself that you wanted to ask me about? And I'll be more than happy to explain and go over any of these problems. You can either just verbally tell me, or you can put it in the chat. It's up to you guys. I'm not picky.
I think that the hardest questions that I've had were like the last two chapters that we've gone over. I've kind of struggled with those a little bit.
Okay, so let me see. I'm going to kind of scroll down here. And when I get to something that you feel was a little tough, if you want to tell me, I'm more than happy to kind of go over it. Anything?
It's like the last like 40 questions I've had trouble with.
I'm sorry, which one?
Like the last 40, I think we're
Okay, the last four?
chapters.
Okay,
Yes.
so I think it's got 48 questions. So I'll tell you what, why don't we go through some of these here and see if we can't make sense. I'll go 45, 46, 47, 48.
Okay.
And this makes sense. So I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit just so it's a little easier to see. All right. So, okay, so guys, for number 45, it says the tables give some selected order pairs for the functions f and g. Find f composed with g of 8. Okay, so it's asking me to find, a lot of times it looks like fog, but the way I read that is f, I'll even write it down here, f composed with g of 8. Okay, so the way I'm going to go ahead and do this is I'm going to find f of g of 8. Okay, so now the first thing I need to do is just kind of like when you were back in like middle school, 8th grade, something like that, and you would do order of operations, we got to kind of start with the inside first. So the inside first says g of 8. What this means is I'm going to look at my function g, okay? I'm going to go to when x is equal to 8. So x is equal to 8 right here. The value of g is going to be 6. So this is saying now we're going to find f of 6, okay? So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come to the function f, and I'm going to say, okay, when x is 6, what is the value of f? It's 9, okay? And that's pretty much all I really got to do for 45, okay? So I'll tell you what, let's take a look at 46, because 46 is almost identical. The only thing that's different is that on 46, the g and the f are reversed, okay? So the way I'm going to go ahead and do this is going to be g of f of 1, okay? So the first thing I need to do, I'm going to, again, go from the inside out, f of 1. So I'm going to go to this box, because f is the first one. And I'm going to go to when x is 1. Sorry, my pen sometimes freezes up. When x is 1, the f value is 5. So this tells me now we're going to find g of 5. So then I'm going to come to this box, and I'm going to say, okay, when x is 5, what's the g value? It's 7. Okay. All right, so let me check out 47. Okay. So 47 says, same type of problem, and it says the tables give some selected order pairs for the functions f and g, and it says, why can you not determine f composed with g of 1 from the information in the tables? Okay, so let's see if we can figure this thing out. It's telling me that we can't figure this out. So remember what this means here. This means I'm going to find f of g of 1, right? So again, the first thing I would do is I say, okay, look, we're going to start with the g function. So we're going to come to this one here. And we're going to go, when x is 1, what's the value of g? It's 9, right? Okay. So now we're going to figure out, well, what's f of 9? So we're going to come to this function here, and we're going to say, okay, when x is 9, what's the value of f? I don't have a value of f when x is 9, right? So that's why I can't figure it out. So it says, look, from the given table, g of 1 we said was the number 9. And f composed with g of 1 is going to be f of 9, and that can't be determined from the values in the table, right? That's the reason why, because we can't figure out what f of 9 is, right? We don't have, like if we had a 9 here, then we could figure out what that number would be. But since we don't, we can't figure it out. All right. So let's take a look at number 48. And 48, we got 3 parts. We're going to do it the same type of way. The only thing that's different, guys, from 45, 46, 47, and 48 is that at least in these here, we had tables, right? The only thing that's different here, now we just have it as a graph. Okay, but we're going to go through the process the same way. Okay, so if we want to find f of g of 1, remember what this means we're going to do. We're going to find f of g of 1. Okay, so remember, g is the red function. So what that means is I'm going to go to when x is equal to 1. Here's x equals 1 right here. I need to hit the function g. I need to hit the red line. So I'm going to have to go up. And when we go up, the value that we get is 2. So now this is saying we're going to find f of 2. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to when x is equal to 2, right here. And I need to hit f, which is the blue function. So if I move down, I'm only moving down 1 spot. And since it's down 1 spot, it's going to be -1. Okay. So look, let's do part B, see if we can't figure it out the same way. So I'm just going to kind of clean this mess up, and we'll do part B the same way. So part B says we're going to find g of f of 1. Okay, so the first thing we're going to figure out is what's f of 1. So remember, f is the blue function. I'm going to go into my x-axis when x is equal to 1. And if I want to hit the blue function, I'm going to have to come down. How many spaces down do we need to come to? -2, right? So this is g of -2, all right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my x-axis. When x is -2, here's x is -2. And I want to hit the red function. So do I need to go up or do I need to go down? I'm actually going to have to move down, right? I got to move down just 1 spot. And so we end up with -1 here also. Okay. And then we got one last part to do, part C. So let's do part C. And this says g of 0. Okay. So we can do this. First thing we're going to do, we're going to find g of 0. So I'm going to come here to the x-axis when x is equal to 0. And I'm trying to find the value of g, which is the red function. So I got to go up. And I'm going to move up just 1 spot. So this is telling me I'm going to find g of 1. So now I'm going to come to x equals 1. And I'm going to move up because I'm still looking for g. And the answer that I'm coming up with here is 2. So let me ask you all a question. Did those 4 problems, did they seem to make sense and how we're able to do them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay. Guys, any other questions? I mean, this is basically what I wanted to do for the review session was go over any questions that you guys might have. Don't be shy. Ask me, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Okay, so don't feel embarrassed if you got a question. This is why we're here. Anybody?
I had a question, but it's not from the review. It was from one of the previous homeworks.
Do you know which one it was?
Let me see. It was in 2.7. It would be, the equation is g of x equals f parentheses negative x close parentheses plus 1.
Okay,
And
so
we'd have to find the values.
okay, so give me one quick second, and I'm going to see if I can pull up the question. And let's see.
I believe that's, yeah, question 2.
Okay, question 2. Oops.
Graphs of basic functions.
Okay. Let's see, let's go here. Here. Okay, you said 2.7. You said number 2?
Yes.
Okay. So let me see.
Wait, this is.
Is it, let me see. Let me double check. Was it this question here?
Yes. Oh,
Okay. I mean, it's similar, right? Like yours might
yeah.
be maybe different, but the problem is still the same kind of problem, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, guys. So it says, look, suppose the point 1513 is on the graph of y equals f of x. Find the point on the graph of the function y equals f of 3x. And then part B says, find a point on the graph of the function y equals f of 1/3 x. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this piece right here because I want to share one other thing with you guys, which was, here we go, this part right here. Okay, so this is a formula sheet here. And let's see. Okay, so I'm looking at this part right here where it says horizontal stretching and shrinking. And it says if the point xy is on the graph of y equals f of x, then x divided by c, comma y, is on the graph of y equals f of cx. Okay, and so I want to use basically this piece here to kind of do my problem. So what I'm going to do is, let me see. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the particular question that we had, which was 1513. 1513 is on y equals f of x. We want to figure out what point is going to be on y equals f of 3x. We want to figure out what point is going to be on y equals f of 1/3 x. Okay. And it says the point x divided by c, comma y, is on y equals f of cx. All right, so let me show you, what we're going to do. Here we go. Okay, so these are the numbers that we had. On this particular problem, we had 1513, and it says if that point is on y equals f of x, then the point x divided by c is going to be on y equals f of cx. So we're trying to figure out what point would be on y equals f of 3x. So I want you to notice what we're doing here, guys. If this is my x and this is my y, we're going to take our x number and we're going to divide it by whatever the number c is here. So in this case, the number c is 3x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the number 15. It's going to be divided by 3. The y number is not going to change. That's still going to say 13. So we know that 15 divided by 3 is 5. So 5 and 13 is going to be on the point on y equals f of 3x. And then for this part right here, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take x and we're going to divide it by c. So remember, my x number was 15. So I'm going to take 15 and I'm going to actually write it like this. Divided by, look at what the number c is here. Divided by 1/3. The 13 is going to stay the same. Okay. So think of this 15, y'all, as 15 over 1. Okay. So I'm going to leave this as 15 over 1. Remember how we divide fractions? We change it to a multiply. Take the reciprocal of that one, 3 over 1 and 13. So 15 times 3 is just going to give me 45 and 13. And so those would be the 2 points. So the first one will be 513, and the second one will be 4513. Because I'm taking whatever the number c is here, this number here, that 3 or that 1/3, and I'm dividing it into whatever my number x was. In this case, our x number was 15. So to kind of show you that I'm telling you the truth here and not poking you guys in the eyes, let's see, if we were to come back to our particular problem, and let's see, here we go. So first thing I'm going to do here, we said the point here should be 5, 13, and I'm going to check my answer. Ooh, there it is. And on this one here, we said our numbers were what, 45 and 13. And I'm going to check my answer here también. And there we go. So we're always going to take the x number, which is the first one here, and we're going to divide it by either the number in front of that x when it's inside those parentheses. And guys, if it's a fraction, then remember how we divide fractions. You flip it and you multiply by this reciprocal. Good question, good question. Let's see. Did anybody have any other questions on the actual review itself? So that we can make sure that we kind of hit all those. I didn't do 49, but we can do 49 too. But I think you guys kind of got the hang after we did some of these other ones. Did anybody have any questions on anything of the review? Any other questions here that y'all want to ask me about? Do you feel like it makes sense? Pedro, did you have a question? I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I had a question for it's oh my bad. It's called graphing techniques. I was very confused on how to kind of work everything out between like the
Was there a
equations.
particular problem that you wanted me you had a question about?
I believe it was question problem number 24, if I remember correctly.
24. Okay, let's take a look here. This one about the domain and the range?
No. It's probably further. It might be like 30 to 40s. I'll try to see what number. 35. Yeah, those right there.
35. Okay. All right, so let's take a look here at 35. It says two functions f and g are related by the given equation. Use the numerical representation of f to make a numerical representation of g. Okay, so As I go through this problem here, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing the screen so I can share the formula sheet with you guys one more time. And Jose, I'll get to your question in 1 second too. I know you got your hand up. So let me share the formula sheet with you guys. And let's see. Okay, so I want to show you this part right here where it says vertical translations. And it says, I want you to notice a difference between this part here, guys, and this part here. If the plus C or the minus C is on the outside of those parentheses, this is going to be shifting the graph either up or down, okay? And if they're inside the parentheses, then it's going to be shifting the graph either to the left or to the right, okay? So when I look at my particular problem that we're going to do right now, let's see, here we go. When I look at this problem here, number 35, the first thing I notice is that plus 3 is on the outside of the parentheses. So since that plus 3 is on the outside of the parentheses, this means that our graph is going to move up 3 spaces, right? And if it's going to move up 3 spaces, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to add 3 to my y values, okay? So what I mean by my y values, the f, I'm going to add 3 to each of these numbers. So add 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, okay? So negative 2 plus 3 is 1. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. 2 plus 3 is 5. And 5 plus 3 is 8. There we go. And so that's all I really got to do for number 35, right? Now, I want you to look at number 36. And I want you all to notice what's the difference between 35 and 36. If I look at 36, that minus 3 is on the inside, okay? The minus 3 is on the inside. This means that we're going to be changing not my y values, oops, but I'm going to be changing my x values, okay? And so if I'm going to change my x values, the way I'm going to change these, even though this is a minus 3, we're actually going to be moving to the right 3 spaces, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to the right. I'm going to add 3 to my x numbers, okay? So I'm going to look at each of these numbers right here, and I'm going to just plus 3 on every single one of them, okay? So negative 4 and 3, negative 1. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 0 plus 3 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. And 4 plus 3 is 7. And so one of the things that helps me in figuring this problem out is the reason why I know that it's going to be my x values, and I'm not going to go back to the formula sheet, but it's, well, I'll tell you what, let's go back to the formula sheet so we can see that. So let me do this one more time. Here we go. Formula sheet, here we go. So again, I notice on the inside here, it's a plus 3, and this says we're going to the left. If it's a minus 3 or minus C, we're moving to the right. Okay, so this is what's going to help me figure this out, right? Because the fact that it's on the inside of those parentheses, I'm changing my x values. When it's on the outside of my parentheses, I'm changing my y values. And then the other thing that helps me when I'm doing this problem, guys, is, let me do this. Here we go. Is as I'm doing this, if you notice, in terms of the answer, those numbers, I could not change them. So that was the other thing telling me, okay, I'm going to have to change my x numbers, because where my x was, that's the part that was sort of open, right? It was that spot right there. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Somebody had their hand up. Jose, yes. Jose, do you got a question for me?
Yeah, actually. I think it's
Tell me.
question 22 on the review.
22?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's it corresponds to 2.2 circles.
Okay, yeah, let's take a look at it. Question number 22. Yes. Okay, so this one here, it says decide whether or not the equation has a circle as its graph. And if it does, give the center and the radius. And if it doesn't, describe the graph. Okay, so we're going to see if we can figure this thing out. For 22, this problem is going to take a little bit of time to do. I'm going to go ahead and sort of rewrite the equation. Okay, so guys, what I mean by I'm going to rewrite the equation, I'm going to group the x's together. So I'm going to put an x squared. If you notice, we got a 12x. I'm going to put that right next to it. I'm going to leave a little space right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the y's. So I'm going to put a plus y squared. And then I have a plus 6y. I'm going to leave another little space. And I'm going to take this 36 and I'm going to move it to the right side. And it's going to give me a negative 36. Okay. So what we're going to do here, guys, it's a process called completing the square. Okay. In completing the square, what we're going to do is we're going to take the number in front of the x, which is 12. Okay, so I'm going to just write it over here on the side somewhere, 12. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Okay. Then I'm going to take that number 6 and I'm going to square it. 6 squared is going to give me 36. And what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to put a plus 36 in that little spot right there. And I'm also going to do it over here at the end on this side, plus 36. Okay. Now, just like we did that with the number in front of the x, I'm going to do that same process all over again, guys, but with the number in front of the y. So I'm going to take the number 6, I'm going to divide it by 2. That's going to give me 3. I'm going to take the number 3 and I'm going to square it. And that's going to give me 9. So then right here, I'm going to put a plus 9. And over here, I'm also going to put a plus 9. Okay, so just to give us, before I go on, the first step is always take the number in front of the x, divide it by 2, square it, add it to both sides. Then we're going to do the same thing with the number in front of the y. That number 6, we're going to divide it by 2, we're going to square it, we're going to get the number 9, and we're going to add it to both sides. Okay, the reason why we're doing that is this piece right here should factor out nice and pretty. And what I mean by factoring out nice and pretty is, remember, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 36 and add up to 12. Well, the two numbers that I know that multiply to 36 and add to 12 are 6 and 6. So I can write this as x plus 6 squared, because it's going to be the same factor twice. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to factor this piece, and I'm going to say, look, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 9 and add up to 6. So the two numbers that I know that multiply to 9 and add up to 6 are 3 and 3. Okay. Equals, now this negative 36 and that positive 36 are going to cancel out, and that's going to leave me with a plus 9. So before I go on, the one thing I want to mention, guys, remember when we took the number 12 and we divided it by 2? When we divided it by 2, do you remember what number we got? We got 6, right? That's the same number that's going to go right there. Same thing over here. We took the number in front of the x and we divided it by 2. And if you remember, we got the number 3, and that's going to be that number right there. It's always going to work that way. Okay. So now that we have it set up this way, the equation of a circle looks like this. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay. And so when I look at my problem here, this has a minus h and this has a plus 6. So that's telling me my h is really a negative 6. It's going to be the opposite sign. Okay. And this is a minus k and I have a positive 3. So that's going to be a negative 3. So that's the center of my circle. The last number is the radius being squared. So then we got to figure out, well, what number, when I square it, gives me 9? And we would say 3. 3 is a number that when I square it, that number gives me 9, right? So the center of my circle is -6 and -3, and the radius is going to be 3. So all I would do is I would come back over here, and let's see. Here we go. Right here we would just put in -6, -3, and the radius is 3. And that's all we'd have to do for 22. Let's see. Any other questions anybody wants to ask me about anything, guys? Any other problems that y'all want to go over? How are you guys finding the videos on YouTube?
Helpful.
They're good?
Yeah.
Good.
Sure.
Good. So guys, one thing I want y'all to try to be aware of is, like, with the videos on YouTube, guys, I'm trying to like talk you through the process, right? So I'm trying to talk to you like if I was there with you. I know this is difficult and maybe a little awkward or a little strange for some of us because we might be accustomed to, you know, being in a classroom, that kind of thing. But with the current pandemic, these are the, you know, this is kind of how we're doing it. But my process or my line of thinking the entire time was, can I, like when I made those videos, my intent was like you were there with me, you know, whether it was you guys or a class that I have next semester or my classes that I had last semester or whatever it happens to be. But that was like my intent, was to try to talk you all through it like if I was there with you. So I hope that you're finding them helpful. I hope that you know, that they make sense. And, you know, guys, like I said before, you know, if you got questions, send, like, Sarah, how do I do this question? If you notice that when I send the videos out of the particular problems, I never mention anybody's name, so that some, you know, don't feel embarrassed, like I'm going to call you out, like, hey, so-and-so asked this question again. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, hey, one of our classmates asked a question. Here's a video of the problem. And I send it to everybody because my thought is if one person has that question, chances are other people do as well. But anyway, any other questions that you guys want to know about, or have any questions about any of the other problems here on the review? Guys, like I said, this thing has 49 questions. I basically picked half of them. The questions you're going to have on the test, they're going to be the same exact questions, okay? So like, for instance, we just did 35 and 36 right now, right? These were the numbers that we had. We still might have a +3. The only thing that might be different is instead of a -2, a -3, a 2, and a 5, those numbers might change, right? And instead of a +3, maybe we have a +1. But the process is going to be the same, right? So when I say the 24 questions come directly from the review, they come directly from the review, but the numbers change a little bit here and there. But it's the same type of problem. So that I know that if I had this same problem, but instead of a +3, I had a -2, instead of going up 3 spaces, instead of adding 3, I know I'm just going to say, okay, well, now I'm just going to subtract 2. But the idea would still be the same, okay? Any other questions that you guys have out of anything here? Don't be shy. Let's see. All right, Thomas, you lowered your hand. Oh, you have a question. Yes, sir. Thomas, tell me.
Are we able to do 37?
37, definitely. Yeah, let's do 37. Okay, so take a look here. It says two functions f and g are related by the equation g of x equals f of x plus 1 minus 3. Use the numerical representation of f to make a numerical representation of g. Okay, so first thing we're going to do here is this. We're going to look at this piece right here. And I'm just going to write it over here to the side where we have f of x plus 1 minus 3. Okay, so what this part means here, if it's a +1, I'm actually going to move all my x values to the left 1 space. And then if this is a -3, then we're going to go down 3 spaces. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a little table here with, let's see, g of x like this, because this is my g of x. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to the left 1 space and down 3. So I'm going to subtract 1 from each of these numbers up here. Okay. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. 5 minus 1 is 4. And 6 minus 1 is 5. Okay. And then I'm going to go down 3. So I'm going to subtract 3 from each of those numbers. Okay. So 2 minus 3 is a negative 1. 4 minus 3 is a 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. 6 minus 3 is 3. 8 minus 3 is 5. And 10 minus 3 is 7. Okay. Now, so I wrote that table. You saw me write it. I just wrote it on the side over here. But the question is, well, how do I fill out this table? How do I fill out this table here? Well, I want you to notice the difference between this table here, guys, and this table over here. It just doesn't have this part. You see how we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill in those numbers right there. So I'm going to put 1, 0, 3, 5, and 7. And that's really all I need to do for number 37. So did that make sense how I was able to go through that one?
No, yeah, that one makes a lot more sense.
Makes sense now? Good, good, good. Excellent. Any other questions, guys? Anything else? Let me ask you a question. Like on a level of say 1 to 5, 1 being like, I wish we had another snowpocalypse so I wouldn't have to take the test tomorrow, and 5 being like, I think I'm ready, or I know I'm ready. How do you guys feel? I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm not gonna, if you feel like at a 1, that's where you feel. If you feel like you're at a 4 or 5, that's how you feel. I'm just trying to kind of get an idea how do you feel? Like, do you feel like you're ready? Do you know what I mean? Anybody want to share?
Well, like 3.
Good. Okay. Three's not bad. I mean, guys, like I said, I'm here to help you guys. So if there's any question you want me to do, if you're just like looking at a question and you're unsure of it, and you want me to do it, ask me. I mean, this is why we're here tonight. Anybody? Feel like a 1, Pedro? Guys, let me ask you all a question. In terms of taking like this online class, what do you feel is let me ask you, is the most difficult part like itself, or is the more difficult part deciding like when you're going to do this? You know what I mean? Like so like I say here, hey everybody, everything is up for the weeks 6 and 7, and the stuff that we had that was going to be due a couple of weeks ago is due by tomorrow at 10 in the morning, since that's going to be the first testing session. But is the hardest part like, when do you honestly sit down and start doing your own work, because it's so flexible, or it's so it's not structured in the sense that like we meet twice a week for an hour? Is that the harder part? Like just deciding when you're gonna do it?
Just because I feel like when we were in class, it was way easier, like, to focus. And I'm not good at math. I've never been good at math. And I feel like it's way harder now.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I guess I don't know. This is my thought, and you tell me if if I'm interpreting this right, or maybe this is not how you feel at all. But like if the way I look at it is like if you were going to the gym and you had, forget about the pandemic, right? But if you were going to the gym, like you were going to TrueFit or something like that, or Golds or whatever, and you just say, oh, well, I'm going to go, after I get out of class, or I'm going to go, tomorrow afternoon, or whatever happens to be, and tomorrow afternoon before you go, your friends call you up or your cousin calls you up and said, hey, let's go get something to eat and go to the mall. Forget about the pandemic. And you're like, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. And you don't ever go to the gym because it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'll go another day. Oh yeah, I'll go another day. But if you had like a group of people that you went to the gym with and you had like regular, like, hey, we go every, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we go at 6:00 every evening and we're there till 7:30. And somebody says, hey, let's go get something to eat tonight. And you're like, I can't because I got my friends at the gym and we're going to do the Stairmaster or today's leg day or whatever it happens to be. And when you have that kind of structure, this is, you do this every Monday through Thursday, it's easier to stick to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that hits the money.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. Would you guys want to have like a weekly meeting every Monday night at say 6:00? And we all log on Monday nights at 6. And if you can't make it, obviously you can't make it, right? But Mondays at 6, I'm going to say, look, guys, I'm not going to go through every single thing because this is an online class, and part of it is you guys kind of have to, do your thing. But if I said, look, like say next Monday night, I said, look, I'm going to go over a little bit of chapter 3, and I'm going to do a few problems here and there, but it's still going to be your responsibility to go ahead and watch the videos and whatever, whatnot. But at least you would get, say an hour of me going over some problems. Would you guys be down for something like that? Like, would you all want to do something like that?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to send out a message, and I'm going to say, hey, listen, starting on Mondays at 6:00, we're going to join in on Blackboard Collaborate, and I'm going to go over some stuff. And the idea here is so that it provides us with some structure. And you're still going to have to watch the videos and everything, but at least, like, say we're gonna do this. Say I'm gonna make this up from 6 to 7 or 6 to 7:30 or whatever it is, right? And like, all right, guys, it's time for me to go ahead and log off and check you guys next week. But because we've kind of gotten the ball rolling, then when I log off, you might say, you know what, I'm going to stay on here and I'm going to go ahead and watch the next video and I'm going to see if I can do some homework problems. But this way, we at least get, we at least have something where we meet a couple of days out of the week, or we'll do it once a week, and hopefully get a little, give you guys some weekly instruction, and then if you guys got questions, obviously, like, sir, I got stuck on this one. Sure, let's go through it. Let's make sure that everybody feels good. So I'll tell you what, we'll start doing that next Monday. The only reason I never set that up to begin with is, when they set up these classes as online classes, they didn't set them up so that they meet at a certain day or a certain time. And I always felt like it was maybe, I don't want to say unfair, but like if right now I think there's 7 or 8 of us here in this session, right? And there's like 25 people in the class, which just tells me that there's other people in our class that, it's possible that they're busy on Monday nights. They might be working or whatever, taking care of family members and that kind of thing, right? But I'm thinking if we do something like this on Monday nights, it at least provides a little bit of structure, and you guys can kind of see what's going on and stuff. So I'll tell you what, we'll start doing that every Monday night at 6, and I'll start sending out like a message like saying, hey, tonight we're going to do a little tutoring session or something. I'm going to go over a few problems and kind of explain some of the main concepts, and see if that kind of helps keep us on track. Because I agree with, like, we feel like a one. I think the hardest part is just deciding when are you going to sit down and do this. And when we don't have that structure, it's kind of difficult to get it done. I don't think there's a lot of people that are like, hey, you know what I'm going to do this afternoon? I'm going to do some college algebra. It's so much fun, and I got nothing else to do, and that's what I'd rather do this afternoon. It's kind of hard to do that, but we'll start doing that next Monday, and we'll see how that works, and see if kind of gives you a better understanding too. Any other questions about anything, guys, that you want to ask me? Any questions at all? Don't be shy.
All we're going to be allowed is a calculator and the formula sheet, right?
Yeah, calculator and formula sheet, guys. I think those are the two main things you're going to need. And let me see if I can share this with you guys. Tomas, is that you asking me the question?
Yes.
And so, look, let me see if I can share something with you guys real quick. See, I think you guys can see me now. So I have my iPad here. I have it on my phone too, but I got it on my iPad, guys. And so I'm going to kind of just put this up here so you can see it. But I have this app called Graph and Calc 83, and it just basically, it looks like, if any of y'all ever had a calculator like this in high school, this is the same thing, and it's free to download. And you can put it on, I mean, if you have an Android, it works on your Android. If you got an iPhone, it works on your iPhone. I put it on my iPad because, like, when people ask, like, sir, how do I do number 7 out of 2.1 or whatever, I always do the video on my iPad, and I just send it out to everybody, throw it up on YouTube, and then give you guys the link. But you have, it's the same thing as this, right? Except if you go to Walmart or whatever, this is $100, and if you go to the App Store, this is free, right? And it's called Graph and Calc 83. I think I sent it to you guys before, but I'll tell you what, I'll send it to you guys right now, just for if you guys want to use the app. Let me see, I got it somewhere here. Here we go. This is the calculator app I use. It's free. And the Lord and okay. All right, so I just sent it to you guys through Remind. I'm going to send it on Pronto too, just in case anybody didn't sign up. Oops, didn't sign up for Remind. Let me see where I got it. Here we go. So yeah, you guys can definitely download that. It works really, really well. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Guys, I did send you all the instructions for the test. So if you, let me see if I can share this part with you guys so y'all can see it. Let me see. There we go. And I think you guys can see this now. So tomorrow, guys, when you get ready to sign in for the test, what you're going to do, if you're taking it at 10 a.m., you're going to click right here where it says Test 1, Math 1414, Tuesday 3-2 at 10 a.m., right? And if you're going to do the one at 6:30, you're going to click on this one right here, okay? And it'll open up a window, and it'll ask you if you want to download Teams, or you can just continue in the browser. I always tell everybody, continue in the browser. You don't necessarily need to download Microsoft Teams. You can just open it up in a new window. So that's how you'll go ahead and get started tomorrow when you're gonna take the test. You'll click on whichever one you're gonna sign up for. Okay, guys. The only thing I will say is, show up on time. If you're gonna do the 10 o'clock session, sign in at 10 o'clock. Don't sign in at 11 like Hazer on here. Just because it throws people off, and I kind of have to give the instructions all over again on what it is we're gonna do. But I don't know. Anybody else got any questions about anything that y'all want to ask me about?
I have a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, do we print the formula sheet out, or can we write?
Okay, so good question. You can if you want to. The other thing you can do is you just like open it up in either your web browser, like if you're using Google Chrome or whatever, or Firefox, you can open it up in a new window. You can open it up in Adobe PDF Reader. No, but you don't have to print it out. You can just have it like, you know what I mean, available on your computer as you need to use it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question. Definitely, yeah.
And where can we find that again?
I'm sorry. Yeah, so the formula sheet, if you look, let's see, right here under weekly activities, if you click on that, it's going to be in the week 6 and 7 folder. It'll be there. I sent it to you guys in the announcements as well over here. So you'll find the, let's see if I click on this one here, yeah, you guys can see this. And here's the formula sheet. All you got to do is click on these 3 dots and click on download original file. And it'll be right there. There's the formula sheet. And that's the same one that I was sharing earlier. And then guys, if you haven't yet signed up, like make sure here's the sign up sheet, the link to the sign up sheet. So click on it. It's just a spreadsheet. It's going to put your name on whichever one of those 2 sessions you're going to sign up for. Let's see. Any other questions y'all want to ask me about? Anything from the review? Any other questions about like the test or anything like that? Guys, don't worry about time. You're going to have plenty of time, okay? You're going to have plenty of time to do it. Like if those of you who are going to sign in at 10, I'm going to make it the test due like by 1 o'clock, that kind of thing. You know, not that it's going to take you 5 hours to do it or 3 hours to do it or whatever. I'll probably put it later than 1. But just know that you'll have plenty of time, right? And then all you're going to do, guys, you're going to leave. It's kind of like the way we're doing this session right now. This is what it's going to look like. The only thing you're going to have to do, you're going to have your cameras on. Your microphones will be muted unless you got a question. I'm just going to mute the mics. If you got a question, unmute it and ask me your question. But the mutes will be muted so that if there's no background noise for everybody, okay? I'm going to mute mine as well once we get started. I'll give you guys the instructions on how we're going to take the test. It's still going to be through my lab. And basically the whole point of doing the teams, it's just like from proctoring purposes, right? Like they're telling us, I got to watch you guys as you take the test. That's really all it is, okay? I don't know. I guess that's pretty much the information that I have for you all, unless you all have a question for me about anything. Don't be shy to ask. I'm not, huh? What was that? I'm sorry, I just didn't hear you. Oh, all right. Guys, if y'all don't have any other questions, we can end the review session. If you do, ask me. I'm right here. No? All right. So, again, feeling better? Good. I'm glad you're feeling better. Guys, tomorrow, I want you to take your time with the test. Like I said, you're going to have plenty of time to do it. You know, there's not really going to be a huge time limit on it. Like I said, I'll set it up to where you have like 4 hours to do it. It's 24 questions. Shouldn't take you that long. Once you're done with the test, guys, I'll just say, hey, let me know that you're done. You can either say, hey, sir, I'm done, and I'll say, all right, I'll see you later. Or you can put it in the chat, whatever. And again, guys, our test tomorrow is going to be through Microsoft Teams. So again, just to kind of give you a heads up one more time, what you'll do is you will, here we go. You'll click on one of these 2 links, right? Whichever one you're doing. So if you're taking the one at 10, click on it at 10, right? If you're doing the one at 6:30, click on it right there, okay? If you try clicking on it right now, guys, it probably won't let you do it because it's not set up to open up right now. It'll open up tomorrow, okay, at those times. And I set it up to where you can sign in, you know, a few minutes before. But anyway, thank y'all for coming tonight, guys. If you don't have any more questions, I'll go ahead and end our session. If you do have questions, then hang out and let me know. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording it. But if you got any questions, just let me know, and